There we go. Check 1, 2. Yep. Okay. I think we're good now.
Okay.
There we go. Check 1, 2. Somebody's playing it through their phone. Okay. I think we're good now.
Okay.
There we go. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Well, thank you very much for for being a good sport tonight. Shellie is at a family emergency. We won't go too much into the details, but she called me frantically, as she did you, Irene, a little bit ago, and she's like, "Rob, can you at least go on? There's a lot of people that are going to be coming into the show tonight, and we're really looking forward to coming in. So would you talk to Irene?" And so I talked to you, and you were game. So props to you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's what foster parents do.
I'm getting a quick study on that. So filling in for Shellie, do you want to do the intro for Lana?
I would love to. I have a fellow foster parent who's also the secretary of the National Foster Parent Association with us, and her name is Lana Freeman. She's from Oklahoma.
And I'll bring her on right now. There we go.
Good evening.
You still there?
Yes, I am. Thank
Okay.
you.
There she is. Lana, I really appreciate you in less than an hour's notice braving the evening with me. And I couldn't think of anybody else that I would rather have on the show with me, because I believe you and your husband have fostered now for about 33 years. Is that right?
That's right. Started January of 1984.
And how many children did y'all adopt during that time?
Well, we've adopted 6 children, 2 bios of our own, and adopted 6.
Awesome. We fostered for 27 years and adopted 4 during that time. And like most foster parents, I'm sure that Lana's the same way. We have kids who keep coming back. They're in their 20s and 30s, and a couple of them are in their 40s now, and they have families.
Right.
So we have really big families sometimes, especially for holidays.
That's right.
Yeah. So Shellie wanted to have a show about what is foster care. And we would really encourage you to write in your questions, and we'll try to do our best to answer those for you. Today, it's a critical time in this country for the need for foster families. And we want to emphasize that we're talking about family foster care, not institutional care, not group care, but real families in the community stepping up to help meet the needs of the families in their communities that are struggling. And when that happens and a child has to be removed from their biological parents, you have to know that that's not done easily, and that each of these children that come into care have had some significant trauma in their lives. And what we like to say is that they're kids from hard places. And so when we talk about foster care, we're not talking about kids who did anything wrong and that's why they got removed from their family. We're talking about children who, through no fault of their own, cannot be with their parents because of their parents' issues, not the children's issues. Now, that said, the trauma that these children have lived through, and sometimes it's been just a few times and it's been really significant, or sometimes it's been ongoing for years before they're brought to the system's attention, and investigations show that they really aren't safe with their parent or parents at that point. Those children bring all that baggage with them. And they have a lot of feelings that get acted out. So when you hear about foster children, sometimes you hear about how bad they are, and how much they run away, and a lot of different things. And what we always want to remember is that these are children first. They're just like any other children. They have the same likes, they have the same dislikes, they have the same needs, They like the same cartoons. They like Minecraft, or they like Legos, all of those things. They love ice cream. They like to go swimming. They want to play softball. But sometimes what's happened to them gets in the way. And they have behaviors that are inappropriate for the setting that they're in. And that's probably the hardest time for the parents, the people that are parenting them, who've incorporated them, had them join their family as a family member, have to realize that sometimes when these children are acting out, they can't even tell you why. They really don't know why. And I know that I've had so many children, so I say, why did you do that? Oh, you know, because they really don't. And it doesn't do any good to harp on them and say, well, yeah, you know why you're doing that. Well, no, they don't. They honestly don't. Something triggered feelings that they had that had to be expressed. So foster parents help children learn how to express those feelings, those honest feelings, in a way that's more appropriate socially, and a way that helps them be a more productive part of the family and the school and the community. Lana, do you have anything you want to add to that? Just kind of a general overview of who these children are.
Well, the kids that's come in, you know, we've had about 300. I kind of lost count in the late 200s, but they're more than ever that I see even younger that are so traumatized, and drugs and alcohol and stuff, the effects, they desperately need our help. And there's so many things that I wish that I had known years ago. There are so many more avenues to get these kids the help that they need. I don't know. I think I enjoy feeling that healing. And I think that a lot of people don't realize that these kids, there's children that I've had that I thought maybe, I don't know, so much has happened, but I've been amazed. I've got to see from, you know, like you, from the beginning to the end now, not the end, but grown. And
right.
See how wonderful they are as parents. So much, sometimes better than I think than I am, because they have had so much love and attention.
Yeah, well, I've had kids come back and say, you know, y'all are the only people who never gave up on us. You always knew we would be somebody special. And
Right.
we, you know, I know you probably didn't think it when we were there, because we were acting out and trying to not like you, and because we didn't want to learn to trust you. We didn't want to get hurt again. Mm-hmm. So, oh my goodness, Loki Clements, that's my son. He's called in. I love you, Mom. You will always be my hero. I love you, son. Loki's like 37 now, and he, you know, he kind of got his act together when he was about 30, I have to tell you. And I'm so incredibly proud of this man. He's a wonderful husband, a great father to incredible children. And, well, you couldn't have a better son than that. All of my kids are great. And, you know, he's one of those kids that we were told by the professionals when he was, you know, 6, 7, 8, 9 years old, that he would never amount to anything. We should put him in an institution. Well, over my dead body was I going to do that? I believed in him. I believed in every child who came into our home. And I know that Lana and Steve have done the same thing. And when they know that they have somebody who believes in them, no matter how bad they act out or how goofy they are or how stupid they get sometimes, that you just keep on loving them, it makes a difference. And sometimes we don't see it in the time we have them, but we've planted seeds in those kids that grow. And then as they mature, and sometimes they mature slowly, they start to understand all of those things that we were trying to teach them and have them learn. Our oldest son said to us, you know, Mom, all that stuff you and Dad kept trying to teach me, and I kept pushing back. I didn't want it. And he was 19 when he came to us, and he said, well, because he went to find his birth parents and found things he didn't want to find. And when he came back, he said, I just got to tell you, Mama, I think I'm going to be a good man, because all that stuff you and Daddy tried to teach me and my Sunday school teachers tried to teach me, it's all inside and it's starting to come out. Mm-hmm. And he indeed is a good man, a good family man, earns a good living. I mean, you know, you just, those are the stories that I wish people could really hear, not the bad stories in the newspaper, the tiny, tiny, tiny percent of times when things go wrong, when the foster parents do bad things. That's what gets the media, and so everybody thinks they're all bad. But I can guarantee you that the people who dedicate themselves to this, who open their families and welcome these children in, are doing it for the right reasons. And they'll tell you to a person, it's the hardest thing I've ever done, but I would never not have done it because I've gotten so much out of it. And I think that, you know, for anybody that's thinking about becoming a foster parent or talking with their family about the possibilities, really, really talk to everybody in your family, not just your spouse, but your kids too, because this is a family affair. It's not a mama wants to be a foster parent and everybody else is going to be a hangers-on. Doesn't work that way.
That's right.
Because the family heals the child. The family helps that child. So every interaction that the children experience from a loving, nurturing, well-trained, well-supported, respected foster family makes incredible changes for those children at the time that they're there and for their future as well.
Right.
So are there any questions out there? I'm seeing a bunch of like things here. You know, each state is different. So depending on where you live, the rules are going to be a little bit different about what it takes to become a foster parent. Like, how old do I need to be? Do I have to be married? Can I be single? Can I be single with kids? Do I have to own a home? Or can I live in an apartment? Now, all those kinds of things are kind of state specific, and in some states, even county specific. And Thief River, okay, Daria, Faith, Hope, Love, Louise, can you lift that up a little bit? And Jay, say hi, thank you. So when you are talking about becoming a foster family, contact the people in your state or your county and ask them what are the basic rules to become a foster parent. The federal government puts out some strong guidelines, but each state then works to design what they think their foster care system should look like. And they set the standards of what the rules that foster families must abide by in order to take care of children. And so you have to have a clean criminal history. You know, they're all can get drug tested, and that's pretty much in every state. You have to have training before you become a foster parent. Then a home study is done, a home screening. Then if you become licensed to be a foster parent, there's ongoing training after that. And Lana and I are perfect examples of, Lordy, so many years of experience, and we continue to get training every year because we'll never know in all of it. Every child that comes into your family can be very unique.
That's right.
Oh, thank you. Oh, that's wonderful. Paige, Daria, Renee, and Reese. Okay, thank you. So, you know, ask the questions. Find a foster parent association in your area. Go talk to some foster parents. Ask in church, or are there other families in your church? And find out what kind of supports there are available for your family if you decide to do this. Like Lana said a while ago, we've been doing this a long time, and there were not a lot of supports and services available to children or to our families when we were beginning. And certainly there are many more now. And but sometimes they're hard to get to because there are not enough of those services, or they're waiting lists and that kind of thing. So foster families and foster parents in particular quickly become advocates, not only for the children in their home, but for all the children who have to come into care, because we want to make sure that every child gets their needs met. We want to make sure that every foster family also gets their needs met.
So Irene, I've got a question.
Sure.
So somebody comes in and watches this broadcast and has never had the visibility or thought to become a foster parent, but they're inspired to do it. Where do they start? I mean, that's got to be like, where do you start? Do you start at the state? Do you start with in groups like yours? Where does one begin the journey with getting all the facts and information?
I think you contact, certainly you can contact the National Foster Parent Association. We have lots of information available. And on our website, there's a listing of state foster parent associations. And so you can click on your state and find out, get answers for your particular state. And that's a great place to start. And they can then direct you to, if it's a county-run system, into the county where you live, and maybe give you some hints on who to call there. If it's a state-run system, then it kind of does the same thing. And they'll tell you who in your local area would be the people to call.
So,
the other thing.
Sorry,
Go ahead.
Two questions just came in. One from Bruce. The first one was mine. But let me read Bruce's question to you. He says, I know you have a great love of disabled children, particularly those with Down syndrome. Can you touch briefly on the disabled kids in care? Also, well done on such short notice. And then the second one is from Mark Clark, and he said, hi, been coaching, mentoring foster youth for 17 years. Is there any difference in raising a 6-year versus an 11-year-old, or the same for both? Any cookie cutter training?
Well, yeah, there are some cookie cutter trainings out there, and they're usually not the best because they're kind of one size fits all training, and that's not how kids come. Kids come
right.
as individuals. And so sometimes families have to seek out appropriate training for the types of children that they take into their home. And certainly the question about children with disabilities, Bruce knows that our youngest adopted daughter has Down syndrome, and she was 5 months old when we adopted her. She's going to be 33 in May. So that tells you how long that's been. And she is just pure joy. But there are many children who come into the system with disabilities of varying types and developmental delays, intellectual disabilities. Lana briefly mentioned children who are born to addicted moms, whether it be drugs or alcohol. Too many children come into foster care now as infants with central nervous system issues because of the effects of the drugs. Certainly children who had a mother who drank alcohol at the wrong times are on the fetal alcohol spectrum and have a lot of issues. Many of these children have learning disabilities associated with that are there for the rest of their lives. Watching an infant in withdrawal is nothing that anybody should ever have to see. And when it looks that bad, think of what it's like for that baby, the pain and agony they're going through. And so I think it takes some really special people to parent these children. We took a little boy in, it's been many years ago, and he's now deceased. His name was David. And he had a very, very unusual syndrome. There was only 3 children in the United States that alive at that time. Nobody with this syndrome even lives past 18 months of age. And he was in the hospital his first 6 months, and there was nothing anybody could do for him. He was blind, and he had a cleft palate, and he was his central nervous system was deteriorating. And so he cried a lot. He fretted all the time. And so we took him. And this one of those children that will always be in my heart, because the only way he could calm was to where he could hear my heartbeat. And so that child's little head never left my chest. I went to the potty holding him. I got in the shower holding him. I sat up at night in a chair holding him because he couldn't lay flat. He lived for about 8 more months. He taught our family compassion more than any other child we've ever had. And an understanding that regardless of how serious a condition for some of these incredibly medically fragile children are, they need love and assurance as much as anybody else. And he knew he was well loved the day he passed away. So there are families out there who specialize in taking these very, very seriously ill children. I know some who've had multiple children until they've passed away. Some who've even have little cemeteries on their property because they've had so many. And they do such a wonderful job with them. Talk about big hearts.
Incredible big hearts.
Incredible big hearts. And then we have the kids, you know, that look normal, but things just don't work right in their brains. And a lot of times those are the kids who have the drug issues, the after effects of the drugs and the alcohol. And those kids sometimes I think are harder because people expect normal from them. And that's not what they're going to get. Lana?
I think it's been amazing to learn how to advocate for children. When I got into this, I thought I was going to be there just to take care of the kids, but I found out that these children needed so much more than just for me to watch them. They needed me to advocate for them in the schools and in this. Like I said earlier, it takes a village for many of these children. And it has taught me so much about life, a huge perspective, you know, just going to the legislators and saying, you know, these are not just my kids. These are not just the state's kids. This is everyone's child. And we all need to invest into their lives.
Absolutely. I think the other thing that it's important if you're thinking about becoming a foster family is talk to those people who are your natural support systems now and let them know that you're thinking about it, and that if you do decide to become a family that fosters other people's children, that you hope that they'll still be there to be a support for you, because you're going to need it. You get tired. You don't get a lot of sleep sometimes. Some of these kids don't sleep at night very well. And so sometimes you just need help running one kid to, you know, you take them to the doctor, but the other child needs to be picked up from some softball practice, or, you know, all of those kinds of things that happen, and you can't run too many directions with your family. And so sometimes we just need people to help us out. Certainly we need people to give us a date night once a month or something, so that we can just spend some time with our spouse, and time to kind of renew, and a lot of things that people can do to help.
So let me read a few comments that have come in. So Faith Hope Love Ruiz says, I feel my pride training has not given me enough information. I'm helping needy children. Is there any way I can get more training through the program? And then Roger Fitch says, this is pure love on your part. I think he was referring to your story with your son that had passed away.
Yeah.
Can I
There,
speak a little bit to the training, Irene?
absolutely, since that's part of what you do.
When you do the Pride training, or in other states, it could be various names, but it's the pre-service training. And it is put together to just give you an overview. It does not give you the full picture of what you're going to need to take care of these kids. There is ongoing training. If you're struggling in getting that training, the National Foster Parents Association has a long training, that you can get into, like foster parent college, different types of training that's going to support you. A foster parent support group in your area. So not only can you go get training, but you can network with other foster parents. There are going to be people like Irene was talking about, your friends and your family, that are going to be a support to you, but they're not always going to understand what you're going through. And it's so necessary that you get in connected with a foster parent support group that can, you can call them and say, we need a night out because we have kids that other people don't understand and don't know how to take care of. And it's been the best thing I can ever tell you that has helped Steve and I do it 33 years. Otherwise, I know that we could not have.
Right. The National Foster Parent Association has an annual training conference every year. And I see that our time is just about up. So maybe I just give a little plug to that. On June 21st through the 24th in Houston, Texas, will be our National Education Conference. We move it around the country every year. So in 2018, it's going to be in Orlando. So people can think about that. But there's plenty of information on our website at www.nfpaonline.org. And it'll tell you all about the conference. And tomorrow, a listing of all the workshops and presenters will be going up. And there's information about registration and things like that. State foster parent associations usually have a training conference as well, or regional conferences. So get involved with the associations and they will direct you to more training. So I think that we were supposed to end at 9:30. Am I right? Was that what I understood?
There was no end. There were a couple other comments.
No
This is Facebook. It never ends.
Anything that's
So Faith. So actually, Shellie joined a few seconds ago, which was pretty neat. But
good.
Faith Hope Love Rhodes says thank you, and Roger Fitch says animal horse dog therapy, rearing any children on farms seems to be a great asset.
Yeah, that's true. We actually, all 27 of our years, we lived on a small farm and we had animals, sheep, a donkey, a couple of pigs, some chickens, rabbits, work miracles with kids. And certainly horseback riding, all of those kinds of things are great therapeutic avenues for these children. They're good for everybody, actually. But having a pet, we always gave each one of our kids, if they were over 6, then they each got a lamb, and that was their responsibility, and help them learn about what responsibility is and how important it is for the lamb to get fed and to have water and to get exercise and kind of help ground the children. I know a lot of people can't do that. They don't have we call it the luxury of living in the country. But there are programs around that you can use when you live in town to get animal therapy, certainly for these children. Any other questions or?
Oops, I keep going to the wrong camera, so I blow myself up. So that was it for that was the last comment. But I got to tell you, I got to hand it to you and Lana for coming together so quickly on the show today. Like wow. I mean, I do live streaming all the time, but it was just to see how quickly you guys identified, how fast we needed to put a show together. You guys had never done this before, and yeah, so I have even more of a profound respect for foster care parents, because I can imagine, just in working with Shellie in the limited time that I have, seeing the level of crisis that she had to go through. So, probably presenting this to you guys was like, really? Like, you guys probably just like, yeah, whatever. Like, this is a walk in the park.
Make sure that we made Shellie proud. This is our show.
Yeah. But yeah, thank you guys so much. I know this show means the world to her, and you guys were fantastic. I learned quite a bit myself. So really, thank you very, very much.
Thank you.
Right.
We appreciate being on.
We can hook you up. I'm a recruiter.
Oh yeah, we can hook you up.
We can hook you up. I think that's one of the things that we can do quicker than anything. Foster parents are our best recruiters, because
That's
they
right.
are. I have a Facebook page that we do for our state association, and I've got about 5,000 on there. And these are the most compassionate, loving, generous people I have ever met in my life. It's not about them; it's about the kids.
Right.
And they just want to get everybody involved. It is just something bigger than yourself.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, I just have mad respect for you guys in so many ways. So, so the best ways to reach you guys. I know that Irene, I had your lower third with your name, your information on it.
Okay.
Lana, what's the best way for people to reach you?
Are you talking about my email address? Is that what you're wanting?
Whatever you.
Yeah.
Okay, it's Lana, LANAF 73@gmail.com.
Okay, and then I'll put that in the meeting notes too. So for those of you that, yeah, give me 15 minutes and I'll add it to the description.
All right.
All right. So Irene, you want to close this out?
Yeah, we'd love to hear from you. Let us know, let Shellie know what questions you think of, after this show is over, because I know she wants to continue the discussion about what foster care is. We talked a lot about who the children are, some about who the parents, the people are who become the foster families, but I think there's a lot more to be explored, certainly on that topic. So, if y'all can, send some questions in so that Shellie and whoever else is on the show with her can prepare for some of that, that would be really helpful. And again, it was a pleasure to be here. We are honored that Shellie asked the National Foster Parent Association to do this show with her. And I hope to do another one soon.
Yes, please. All right. Thank you, everyone, for your time tonight. We'll see you soon.
All right. Good night.
Bye.
Good night. Thank
Good night.
you.